Good morning, dear students. So we were learning about the frequency allocations. That is International Frequency Allocations Commission, that is Federal Communications Commission. They have set aside 4 set of primary frequency bands in specific to cordless telephones. That is 43 to 50 megahertz and 902 to 928 megahertz. And to be more specific, the advanced telephones and the cordless telephones will have 2.4 to 2.45 gigahertz. And later on, we have the evolution of the invention of latest technologies. We have 5.8 gigahertz. And also we have discussed about some of the examples of the industrial scientific medical band, that is the ISM band. The frequency allocation is between 902 to 928 megahertz. So there are more number of channels available here, and that is the most frequently used the frequency band for all the electronics instruments that has been developed in the recent days. So it depends upon the technology that is being used. And also we have another frequency band of allocation, that is 2.4 gigahertz band, which can allocate up to 100 wide channels. So that is about the FCC, that is the Federal Communications Commission, who decides the frequency allocation for all the electronic instruments that we are designing. Okay. Next, we'll move on to the general block diagram of a cordless telephone. Just let's have a quick recap of what we have discussed in the previous class. So we were discussing about the basic block diagram of a cordless telephone. So the cordless telephones have 2 units. That is, they have one is the base station or the fixed unit, and the next one is the portable or the handset unit. And the base station unit will have these internal circuits, that is the line interface to which we'll be connecting the telephone line, and that is connected to the transceiver. So the transceiver will be having the transmitter and the receiver, and that is connected to a transceiver antenna. And we have the AC power supply that is connected to the AC power line. So we'll be having a power adapter. Okay, so that is getting connected to the base unit, and there will be a battery charger which will keep on charging the battery, and the microcontroller unit that is going to have control over all the internal circuitry in the base station. So we'll have a keypad that is used for dialing the number whichever we wanted to dial, and as well as the LCD display screen where the number dialed and the caller identification number will be displayed on that LCD screen. Okay, so that is about the base station. So coming to the handset, we'll have, which is the portable unit, we'll have again a transceiver. So the transceiver consisting of the transmitter and the receiver. So both are connected to the antenna. Okay, and this receiver is connected to the speaker, wherein we'll be hearing the audio signal that is being received, as well as to the transmitter, we'll be connecting the microphone over which we'll be speaking on. Okay, and again this portable unit or the handset will be having a microcontroller and the keyboard, using which we'll be dialing the numbers and an LCD display screen and the battery. So this is about the general block diagram of a cordless telephone. And this is the pictorial representation of a simple cordless telephone. This is the base unit and this is the portable unit. Okay, so we'll be placing the portable unit over the base unit for charging purpose. Okay, so this is how we make use of. So this is the dialing system, and this is the LCD screen which we'll be using for looking at the number that is being dialed, or the caller identification. Everything, all the details, the call history details, the time details, everything will be displayed on this LCD screen. So this is one such example of a cordless telephone. And this is another set of telephone that is in the brand Panasonic. So this is some of the extended telephones of cordless telephones as an example. And now let us see, these cordless telephones operate in 2 different frequencies. That is, and also they follow different methodology for the transmission of data between the base station and the portable unit. That is the fixed unit and the portable unit. So these could be either analog or digital or spectrum. So now let us see what are the differences between these different methods and different techniques of data transmission between the base unit and the handset. First one is the analog 900 megahertz phone. So this comes under the analog phones, and it uses the frequency modulation. So this FM is nothing but frequency modulation, which most of us are familiar with. I think you should have learned this in analog communication. There is a different types of modulation techniques. Well, you all know that what is the necessity for modulation? Students, chat box is enabled. Please, can you tell the what is the necessity for modulation? To reduce the antenna size as a carrier. Any other answer? To travel the signal. Any other answer? To increase the signal strength. Very good. That is Akhil G. Register number 64. Yes. Abhrami also has said used to strengthen the signal. That is Nachiappan and another, what is that? Another person. Yes, Santosh. You have given a good answer for traveling long distance. That is, whenever we wanted to transmit a signal over the channel, it has to be modulated in order to increase the strength of this signal. So how is it happening? We'll be having a message signal that is going to carry the information and the carrier signal. So these both will be using this message and carrier will be performing the modulation. So based on what parameter? Either it could be amplitude modulation or frequency modulation. So as these cordless telephones, we are making use of only the audio and the voice signals. We will be performing the frequency modulation. Okay. So you can, okay, ma, thanks for your response. Thank you so much. So you can disable the chat box. So with this analog phones uses frequency modulation, that is the FM. Okay. So although they can transmit over a longer distance, but they are susceptible to noise. So that is the frequency range, that is the analog method of transmission of data between the base unit and the handset. It is susceptible to noise. That is why it also, even though it can transmit over a longer distance, if it goes a little bit far away from the coverage distance, we will be able to hear the noise, that is, and we will not be able to hear the voice clearly. So that is one of the disadvantages in case of this analog 900 megahertz phone. So coming to the contrary part, that is the digital 900 megahertz phone, it uses the Gaussian FSK. So it uses one of the digital modulation techniques. So this you will be learning in digital communication in the coming semester. That is the FSK, frequency shift keying. So it is something similar to FM, but you will be doing it in case of further digital signals. So it is again a modulation techniques, and to be more specific, we will be performing Gaussian FSK. So that we are not going to learn in detail, just have an information that that digital 900 megahertz phone will be transmitting the data based on the Gaussian FSK modulation technique. Okay, so the best 900 megahertz phones uses the direct sequence spectrum. So it is the methodology that is being used for the data transmission over the medium, that is the wireless medium. So all this uses the RF frequency, that is the radio frequency range only. Okay, and with the power of up to 1 watt and the transmission distance is a maximum of 5,000 to 7,000 feet. So within that is the coverage range. And also it depends upon the environment and the terrain location where we are using this phone. And both the types of digital phones are highly immune to noise. So as we are doing this kind of FSK modulation techniques as well as the digital sequences spectrum technique, these signals based on this methodology are less susceptible to noise, and they are highly immune to noise. Therefore, these advanced digital telephones will not have any noise. We'll be able to hear a voice very clearly. Okay, so that is about the analog phones and the digital 900 megahertz phones. Okay, next we'll move on to some of the examples of the analog 900 megahertz phone. So this is about this Panasonic phone, which uses the 900 megahertz frequency range, that is analog in nature. And this is an example of the digital 900 megahertz phone, which uses the direct sequence spectrum technique as well as the Gaussian FSK modulation technique used for the transmission. So well, you all know that this is going to be the antenna that is for the portable unit, and this is going to be the aerial, which is going to act as the antenna for the base unit, that is the fixer unit. So to this base unit, we'll have to connect the power supply, AC power supply. Okay. Now let us see some of the newest standards that has been introduced in the market. That is, the newer and the best cordless telephones uses again the DSSS, that is the direct sequence spread spectrum technique, and it uses in the frequency range of 2.4 gigahertz, whereas in the earlier phones we use 900 megahertz. But you see the frequency range, it uses 2.4 gigahertz and 5.8 gigahertz bands. So their maximum range is nearly 7,000 feet, and also there is no possibility of any kind of noise getting into the signal, whatever we are transmitting. So they are virtually immune to local noise. Although these phones are very more expensive, but they offer highest quality sound and the greatest reliability. Therefore, all kinds of sophisticated environments and companies, they make use of these kind of phones. That is the newest standard cordless telephones. Okay, so that is about the latest standard telephones. So coming to some other telephones that has been used in the European countries as well as the well-developed countries in like US, the newest standards created by the European Telecommunication Standards Institute, and that is called as the Digital Enhanced Cordless Telecommunications. We also use these kind of telephones to our what is that? We always follow the UK standard. We use in our at our home also some kind of sophisticated and expensive telephones, cordless telephones. Okay, and that is was developed by the company that is European Telecommunication Standards Institute, and it is being named as Digital Enhanced Cordless Telecommunications. Normally it is called as DECT. Okay, that has been, and also it has been approved for use in United States also. And the frequency range is 1.8 to 1.9 gigahertz for use in US. And this again, this DECT phones uses the digital technology using the Gaussian FSK modulation technique. And instead of frequency division, instead of using the frequency division duplexing with the two channels, the DECT uses a single channel and the time division duplexing. Well, you all know that what do you mean by duplexing or the multiplexing techniques? That is nothing but if you wanted to transmit many number of frequencies signals into using a single channel, we need to perform multiplexing. Is it not? So, well, you all are aware of what do you mean by mux and dmux. Mux is nothing but many to one. So, many number of signals will be converted to a single signal. Okay, many number of signals will be converted to a single signal, and that is transmitted via the transmitting channel. And at the receiver side, the single signal will be demultiplexed, and the actual different frequency of signals, if you are performing frequency division multiplexing, that will be retrieved. So that is about the frequency division multiplexing or the duplexing techniques. Whereas in case of time division multiplexing, what we do, we will be given different time slots. Okay, for the frequency of the transmission of signals at any frequency that has been allotted. So that is based on the time slot. So a particular time slot will be allotted. We have at that particular within the time period, we'll have to make use of the efficient utilization of the channel by transmitting our signals. Therefore, in case of a single channel time division multiplexing, it permits 12 users per channel. That is, a single channel will be able to accommodate 12 users. Therefore, typically we'll have 10 set channels. So that is 12 into 10. So that means number of signals will be able to transmit in case of this time division multiplexing signals. So that there is telephones, they make use of this time division multiplexing channels instead of frequency division duplexing methods. Okay, and the data rate that it can accommodate is that is 1.152 megabits per second. So that is the data rate using which the data is being transmitted. Okay, I hope you are clear with this concept, that is the DECT telephones that is being developed by the European Telecommunication Standards Institute. Okay, so these frequency bodies, that the specifications and different modulation techniques as well as the multiplexing techniques you should be aware of. Okay. And this is some of the examples of the DECT phones that is being used in the United States. And this is some of the telephones that is DECT telephone that is being used in the European countries. Okay. So the most of the telephones are something will be operated based on the same technology. Only they add on to some features. It depends upon the company who is manufacturing the telephone, cordless telephones, but they will be following the same standard protocol for the data transmission, reception, the multiplexing techniques, all those parameters. Okay. Okay. Now let us see in detail what are the internal components of a base unit and the portable unit. So this is kind of a backside, that is the cross-sectional view of the base unit. So this is the fixed base unit to which we will be connecting the power supply, and all the other components will be inbuilt here. So first it requires the radio components, that is for the transmitting and the receiving purpose. So as I told you already, these telephones, that is the communication between the base unit and the portable unit will be happening in the radio frequency range. Therefore, we need all kinds of the radio components, the basic radio circuitry components that is required for designing the transceiver circuit. Okay, so this is about, we'll be having the antenna here, and all the other circuit, amplifier circuits, oscillator circuits, everything will be available here in case of the radio components, in case of a base unit. And coming to the phone line interface components, where we will be connecting the telephone line. So what is the telephone line? It is something, nothing but the local loop which is coming from the telephone exchange, where we have to physically connect that twisted pair of cable or the local loop to this point. And all those conversions will be done here, data conversions, that is analog to digital conversion or digital to analog conversion in case of the receiving process, everything will be done here by the internal circuitry that is available in the phone line interface components. Okay, and as we discussed already, we need a external power adapter and the power supply for the base unit. So these are the power components. Okay, so these are the power components to which we'll be plugging the power adapter here. So that will be supplying the AC power supply. So whenever we are connecting a plug point and the AC power supply, we need to have a transformer. So that will be available in the power adapter, and also all those DC voltage conversions that will be happening with the help of the circuits that is available here. Okay, so this is about the radio components, that is for the transceiver purpose, which will be operating in the radio frequency range, and this is the phone line line interface components that will be making use of that is designed for connecting the telephone line to the base unit, and this is the power supply components. So apart from that, we told that these cordless telephones will have the microcontroller unit. So this is the microcontroller IC over which will be having the inbuilt memory, and other interfacing circuit components will be there that will be helping to connect all the components. Ganesh, question number 19. Sleeping. Wake up. Okay. Next one is the portable unit. So this portable unit, these are the internal circuitry. So this is inbuilt on the circuit board, and here we have the speaker. So this is the speaker which will be connecting the internal circuit to the speaker, where we'll be hearing. Okay, and this is the back of the keypad circuit board, and this is the ringer or the buzzer, where we'll be connecting the, what is that? Whenever call is being received, this ringer will ring. Okay, and this is the mouthpiece, the microphone, where it is connected. And I told that we have the rechargeable battery that is required for supplying power to the portable unit. So that is happening with the help of the nickel cadmium battery. So it is a nickel cadmium battery is used here for, which is used as a rechargeable battery. So whenever we are placing the portable unit on the base unit, it will be charged. This nickel cadmium battery will be charged, and that supplies power to all the internal circuitry that is available in the portable unit. So this is the detailed description of the cordless telephones, the base unit and the portable unit. Okay, I hope you are very clear with the concept. All these things you should know in mind, and also you should be in a position to understand if there is any fault or if something goes wrong with the any of the components in the cordless telephone, you should be in a position to rectify it. So for that, you should have a clear understanding idea of all the basic components used here, and also the characteristics of the components which are used for building up these cordless telephones. Okay. Now we go on to the next topic, that is the telephone system. That is the subscriber interface or the BOSH functions. We commonly call it as BOSH functions. We will see in detail what a BOSH function is. That is the public switch telephone network. There is a subscriber line interface that is connecting the telephone exchange to the subscriber. And so what is happening here? So normally it is called as a PSTN. That is the public switch telephone network, to which all the telephones are connected, and this is the regional office where our local telephone is getting connected to the regional office, and that is connected to the another PBX, that is the private branch exchange, and from there through the PSTN line that is connected to the central office. So central office, normally we call that as a telephone exchange. Okay, and this is the home residential connection here. So here also comes some kind of regional office available here. So it will be having control. So all these are interconnected. So in the same way, this is another pictorial representation of the PBX connection. That is the central office. We will be connecting our telephone, the customer premise at our home through the local loop. And also we'll be having many number of telephones connected here. So for that, if we are having more than one line, we'll be having a switch kind of device that will be getting a route path for getting us connected to the local loop. So normally it is happening with the help of the fiber optic connections. It's advanced kind of telephone connections. Okay, so it could be a loop. There is a subscriber loop connection for shorter distance communications, and when we go for longer distance communications, we'll be connecting with the help of the fiber optic communications. And this telephone, system, it provides some of the basic functions that is normally called as BOSH. That is BO or SCHT. So T is silent. So based on this, how we will be defining the functions. Okay. So now let us see in detail what are the functionalities that is provided by this subscriber interface and what are the functions that is available in the telephone system. So before that, we should know what is a public switch telephone network. That is the telephone system, as I have shown in the previous slide. It is going to be a network kind of thing, which will be connecting all the subscribers in a network, and from there it is getting connected to the central office or the one who is providing the telephone service. Okay, so normally this kind of telephone system is referred to as POTS, that is plain old telephone service. Okay, and the number of different companies are involved in the long distance calls. So nowadays, previously we had that is what is the BSNL connections, which was a government sector, and nowadays it has been privatized, and we have that is MTNL connections and BSNL connections. Even though they are running on a loss, because many of the private vendors have evolved with the evolution of this, mobile phone and cellular telephones, still BSNL is surviving on its own. Even though it is a private sector, some of the government sector companies, there is institutions, they make use of these PSTN lines. So they are providing service for that kind of subscribers. Okay, so that is called the public switch telephone network. One such example is our BSNL and MTNL connections. Okay, and these companies make up, so normally we call those service providers as companies. So these companies make up the telephone system, they design the system, they build and maintain or operate all the facilities and equipment used in providing the universal telephone service. So normally in our country we had CDOT, that was available in Bangalore. So where they manufactured these kind of telephones at a large scale. So it is the government sector, CDOT. I had the chance of having an internship during my college days in CDOT. So it was a very good experience. So similarly, when you go for your professional training, during your internships, you can go and visit one such telephone company where they manufacture the telephone instruments, and they assemble private there is booth exchange on how the switches are working. So that basic concepts you could go there and learn. Okay, you can physically, practically, you can gain a lot of practical experience there. Okay. So that is that company was called a CDOT. CDOT is Center for the Department of Telecommunications. They were the leading manufacturers, that is a government sector. They were the leading manufacturers of the telephone systems, and they were helping all the service providers there across our country. And this conceivable type of electronic technology is used to implement worldwide telephone service that continues to change the internet calling known as the VoIP. Also, this telephone, that is services which is using twisted pair of cables, that is again it is used for VoIP connection, that is voice over internet protocol. So we are making with the help of the same line, we are able to transmit the data packets. We are able to transmit the data packets, that is called the internet service provider. Okay, so nowadays we have many kind of internet service providers, but when we were as students we had only one person, that is the BSNL, I suppose. So they will be providing modems and routers, they will be providing the internet service. So using their connection only, the same telephone line, we were able to transmit the internet data. That is the data packets in the form of internet connections. Okay. So also we are able to provide some kind of enhanced services like VoIP connecting. That is the video voice conferencing. And also video conferencing also it is nowadays it is possible with help of. So some companies they go for a VoIP, there is some different kind of telephone instrument. When you go and work in a company you will come to know. So normally they will get connected with the customers. Nowadays only we have video calls. So previously they had only voice calls. So they directly get connected with the help of this internet protocols and internet connection they will be having. So that they will be doing it with the help of the same telephone line. Okay, the same telephone line is used for transmitting the data packets. Okay, so that is about the subscriber interface. So now let us see, there will be a separate subscriber line interface circuit that is called as SLIC. And each telephone connected to the central office is provided with a group of basic circuits that power the telephone and provide all the basic functions such as ringing, dial tone, the dialing supervision. So there will be some kind of card kind of thing, that is the PCP kind of thing that collectively referred to as subscriber interface or the subscriber line interface circuit. Normally that is called as SLIC. Okay. In older central offices, this subscriber interface cards use discrete components, all digital components were used. And nowadays, they are making use of single ICs. So they have designed this entire circuit, which are providing all these functions, there is ringing, dial tone functioning, dialing supervision, everything into a single IC. So then they are incorporating that. Okay. So all these things, conversions, this IC development will be done with the help of the people who are working in the R&D section in the CDOT. Okay, and the subscriber line interface is also referred to as line side interface. So now let us see in detail what are the SLIC, subscriber line interface circuit BOS basic functions. So the name BOS has been evolved with the different functionalities provided by this. What is that SLIC? That is the first letters of the different functions that is provided by this telephone services company. That is battery services. This is the first letter has been evolved. B has been derived from the word battery, so the battery service. And the second letter O is being derived from the word over voltage protection, and R from the service functioning, that is ringing, and S from the is derived from the word supervision, and C is derived from the word coding, and H is derived from the word H hybrid, and T is derived from the word test. So all this together they call it as VO or SCHT. So this SLIC provides 7 basic functions generally referred to as BOSH. Okay, so now let us see in detail what are the different functionalities provided by this SLIC indeed. Okay, so now this is the pictorial representation of the different functions, that is BOSH functions that is provided by the SLIC at the central office. So now we see, so this is the subscriber telephone, that is our telephone at our residence. We are getting connected to the central office via the local loop. So the local loop, it is going to be the tip and the ring. So the ring is going to be in color green and the tip is going to be in the color red. So that is the twisted pair of connection. And this is the control from the central office computer, and this is the control unit, and it will be, this SLIC will be providing all these functionalities. So what we are seeing, that the first one is the battery feed. We'll see in detail one by one. Now let us look at the diagram. So this is the battery feed, and the second one is the over voltage protection, and we had what is that, ringing circuit, and the next one is supervision, and the next one is the codec, that is the C, and next one is we had the hybrid edge and the test finally. So this is nothing but VO or SCHD functions of the SLIC, that is providing the connection of the subscriber to the central office. Okay. Now let us see in detail one by one. So what is the functionality of battery? So this subscriber line interface at the central office must provide a DC voltage to the subscriber to operate the telephone. Normally, universally, the United States, they typically have minus 48 volt DC. The same thing is followed here with respect to the ground. So actually, it could be any voltage approximately between minus 20 to minus 80 voltage. That is when the phone is on the hook. So when the phone is on, the handset is on the hook, what happens? It will be in a open loop condition. So only the negative voltage will be supplied from the central office to the telephone instrument. So whenever the voltage at the telephone drops approximately to 6 volt, whenever the handset is lifted up. So this operation we had already learned. So whenever the handset is lifted up, what happens? It will be in the hook with, that is when taken off the hook, automatically it will be in the closed circuit, and automatically there will be a voltage drop of 6 volts in the circuit, telephone instrument. So that 6 volt only supplies all supplies power to all the internal circuits in the telephone instrument. So this is what the basic concept we had already learned. Now the larger voltage difference between the on hook and the off hook voltages has to do with the voltage drop. So whenever this voltage drop is occurring, that occurs across the components in the telephone and the local load. So that will be supplying power. So that will be a battery operation which provides a supply of 6 volts to all the internal circuitry components. Okay, so that is about the battery function here, that provides the supply to all the, there will be voltage drop here and there will be a battery feed here that supplies power to all the internal components of a telephone instrument. Okay, so that is about the first functionality B. Okay, now let us see the second word, that is the over voltage protection. As we all know that some kind of over voltage that might be occurring, or whenever a person is doing any kind of servicing operations, by mistakenly he might have taken the lead wire and kept on the circuit, some short circuit might occur, and also these wires are susceptible to what is that lightning threat will also be there. So what happens, that might damage the whenever there will be voltage will be high and over voltage will be occurring, because of that high voltage, it might damage the circuit components of the telephone instrument. Okay, so that should be protected. Therefore, it provides a functionality of over voltage protection. Therefore, the circuits and the components that protect the subscriber line interface circuits from the electrical damage are referred to as the over voltage protection. So there will be some kind of resistors and other components or load connections will be there that will be nullifying the over voltage occurring in the circuit. It is something similar to your voltage stabilizer. Okay, so there will be also always the threshold level of voltage over which if anything goes high beyond the voltage, everything will be nullified by this kind of over voltage protection circuits. And also we have these phone lines or they are always vulnerable to many types of electrical problems. That is also being rectified by this over voltage protection circuits. And also this, as I told you, lightning is far the worst threat that leads to hazardous, because the telephone instrument is at our home. Whenever something lightning occurs, that will be electrocuted through the wire, and the telephone instrument will burst, and we are at our home. So all the circuit components that is available at our home will be electrocuted, and that is a threat for our life. Okay, so that also should be protected. So this over voltage protection circuits helps in protecting the threat that is being caused by case of lightning also. Apart from that, some kind of noises are also introduced whenever the data is being transmitted. So that is also nullified by this over voltage protection techniques. So because of this over voltage protection function, it ensures the reliable telephone operation even under any kind of such threats. Okay. Okay, so that is about the second functionality. Next one is, so that is about the second functionality, over voltage protection. Next, we will see the ringing. So, well, we all know that there is the specific telephone. Whenever a call is being received, automatically it will be ringing. So, it has to be communicated. So, as we have discussed earlier, this is commonly a 9-volt RMS AC signal is received at an approximately with a frequency of 20 Hertz. So this SLIC must connect the ringing signal to the local lobe whenever a call is being received. That is, automatically the ringing signal should be connected to the local lobe. Only then the ringer in the instrument will ring, indicating that a call is being received. So this is usually done with the help of relay contacts. So that relay, you know, it is a kind of switch. Okay, so whenever the particular signal is received, automatically the relay will touch the switch, which gets connected to the local loop, and automatically the ringer circuit in the telephone instrument, then the telephone rings. So this SLIC must detect whenever the phone is picked up, it is off hook, so that the ringing signal can be disconnected. So the ringing circuit keeps on ringing, and whenever we lift up the handset, the ringer circuit should be cut off. Okay, again this relay switch will be disconnected. So that functionality also should be happening. So that is happening with the help of the ringing function that is available in the SLIC. So that is the one here. So the ringing circuit. Okay, that is the ringing circuit. And the next functionality is the supervision. So the overall supervision function, that is, it provides a group of functions with the SLIC, that is to monitor the local loop conditions. It keeps updating. So this SLIC detects when the telephone is picked up, a call is being initiated, this off hook condition, on hook condition, everything will be supervised. So the caller then dials the desired number and pauses the interconnection through the telephone system. So this supervision circuits continuously monitors the line during the telephone call also. So during the telephone call, the entire line should be kept connected without any disruption. So it keeps connected. And in the circuit sense, when the call is being terminated, it should be cut off, and whenever the person whom we are calling is busy, he is already in another call, busy signal should be sent. So that thing will be monitored by this supervision functionality. Okay, that is about yes. And the next one is, so that is the supervision function here. There is off hook position, that is the hybrid condition, that is a handset is lifted up and down, everything will be taken care of by this supervision control function. Next one is the coding. So this is very, very important. Coding is another name of analog to digital conversion or digital to analog conversion. So that is happening with the help of the encoding technique. So please enable the chat box up. Can any one of you tell me what is the purpose of encoding in the data transmission? So it's a general information. What is the purpose of encoding technique in the data transmission? Yes, the chat box is enabled here. What is the purpose of encoding in data transmission? Yes, I'm receiving responses. To reduce the number of wires, to know the information. Any other person? Can I call out the name? For security purpose. Very good. Sandeep, register number 193 for security. See, do it in a common chat so that let everyone know. Keeping data safe. Stravanti, very good. For safe and secure data, Mohana, register number 141. Stravanti, 118, very good. Yes, 131 for secure transfer of data, very good. Any other person? Any other concept? To explore the data, Tarun, register number 704. Okay. Okay, very good. Tarun. To switch between signals. Okay. So the main concept of this, okay. Thank you, Ma. Thank you for your responses. So the main concept of encoding technique is the secure data transmission. So we are making use of the channel which is available for other persons also. Whenever we want our data to be in a secure format, we go for the encoding technique. That is called the coding technique. Normally, the analog to digital conversion and digital to analog conversions are happening here. So that is possible with the help of the codec. So normally we all know that what a codec is. Codec is nothing but coding and decoding. So it is kind of a like we have transceiver for transmission and reception. This codec will do encoding and decoding. Okay, that is the functionality of codec. So this SLIC will have the codec that converts the analog voice signals to a serial pulse coded modulation format data, and also at the receiver side, what is the received digital calls, again it is converted to analog signals to be placed on the local loop. Okay, and this transmission over the trunk lines to the other central offices and role offices for use in longer distance communications, this digital PCM signals are used in the modern systems. So normally for secured means of data transmission, this encoding is used with the help of the codecs. Codecs are nothing but coding and decoding circuitry components. Again, it will have a simple kind of signal processing components, which will be performing the encoding and the decoding process. Understand? So that is about the coding functionality, which is available here in the SLIC circuit. So that is for the transmission using the PCM method and the receiving of signals using the PCM method. And also this codecs will have the filters. Okay, if any noises has been added to the signals, that will be removed with the help of the filters. That is also happening with the help of this codecs. So that is about the coding functionality. And the next one is last but one is the hybrid. So now let us recall what is a hybrid circuit. Can anyone of you tell? In the chat box. Again, we are enabling the chat box. Please tell what is a hybrid, functionality of hybrid. Yes, converting 4-wire line from the handset to the 2-wire line. Very good. Hema, register number 82. Conversion of 4-wire transmission to 2-wire line. Vaishali, register number 229. Very good. Any other persons? Okay, thank you. Nitin Kumar, register number 39. It permits full duplex communication. Very good. Register number 29. Pranita. Any other answer? Abhirami, yes. Ford, converting 4-wire line to 2-wire line. Yes. Sonali has answered. Magesh, Shravanti, Priyanka, acts as the carrier for the circuit. Okay. Separate transmit and receive signals. Shravanti has answered. Okay. Naveen also has answered. Decreasing the number of wires. 4-wire line to 2-wire line. Kishore Kumar. Harini. Nachiappan. Yes, it offers siphon. Very good. That is also a very good answer. You are collecting the points which we had discussed earlier. Very good, Nachiappan. Okay, ma'am. Any other answer? Offers side tone. Very good. Interconnection between the devices. Priyanka. Okay, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you for your responses. Very good. Okay, so it provides, it's nothing but a simple transformer that converts the 4-wire line of the handset to the 2-wire line. So it combines the signal from a telephone transmitter and the received signal to the receiver on this single twisted pair of cable. So it keeps the signal separate within the telephone. And this hybrid is also used at the central office, and it effectively translates the 2-wire line back to the 4-wire line at the central office. That is, we need to separate the audio signals, is it not? That is to be sent to the speaker. And this hybrid provides the separate the transmit and receive signals. Okay, so this is about the hybrid functionality here. Okay, and also it will be having the signal conditioning circuit that is getting connected to directly to the subscriber line using the tip and the ring wire connection and the transmit and the receive signal. Okay, that is about the hybrid functionality. And the last one is the test signals. So it always checks the status of the quality of the subscriber lines. Often the phone company, there is the special test tones sent to the local loop and the received resulting tones. That is, whenever if there is any fault in any connection, the service provider, the serviceman, he will come there, he will climb at the PBX place, and he will send some kind of tones, is it not? So he will be testing whether the line is physically connected or if there is any disruption in the connection, okay, by sending some kind of special test tones. So that is called this test signals. So they can give information about the overall performance of the local loop, physically whether the local loop is connected or not, or sometimes in many places there's some kind of rat problems will be there. So that will be, what is that, biting the wires. So because of that, some disruption connection might happen. That normally happens in our locality, is it not? So that will be tested whether physically there is no interruption in the local loop connection by sending some kind of special test nodes. So that is called the test signals. So this SLIC provides a way of connecting the test signals to the local loop, and to the receive signals, and after receiving the signals, it will be identified that there is no interruption in the connection of the local loop from the subscriber to the telephone exchange. So that is the functionality of the test signals. So that is about, video is being disabled now. Okay, so now that is about the test signals. Okay, that is about the test signals. So that is directly connected to the control. Okay, so these are the different functionality, that is B, O, R, S, C, H, T. BOS functions of the SLIC, that is the subscriber line interface circuits. Okay, hope you have understood this concept. First one is the battery feed, then over voltage protection, ringing, supervision, codecs, hybrid, and the test signal functionality. Okay, so these BOS functions are again classified into two groups. That is the high voltage group and the low voltage groups. That is the circuits which require the high voltage for their operation are divided as high voltage group, and the components, the functionalities which require low voltage for its operation are again segregated to low voltage groups. So these high voltage parts of the system are the battery feed, over voltage, the ringing circuit, and the test circuits. So whereas the low voltage groups includes the supervision, coding, and the hybrid functions. So SCH, you have it in mind, BO or T. Okay, high voltage groups are nothing but BO or T, and the low voltage groups you can have it in mind as SCH. Okay, so the older systems, all the functions were implemented with the help of the discrete component circuits, and nowadays ICs are being used for designing this SLIC. That is the we'll be having us what is that, single chip SLIC boards ICs, that is subscriber line interface circuits, providing all these functionalities as a single IC. Also it is being developed, so it will be occupying less space at the same time providing all these functionalities. Okay. So now let us differentiate the function, that is BO or T, BO or T. So this group is known as high voltage group, and whereas SCH, they are known as the low voltage group parts of the system that are providing the different functionalities of the SLIC. Okay, now let us recall the different points that we have covered so far. So what is defined specifically, what is meant by local loop? I want you to answer. Please enable the chat box, sir. Yes. So what is meant by local loop? So answer to my first question, which is visible on the screen. What is meant by local loop? So these kind of questions will be asked frequently. So these are the important points that you need to have it in mind. So that is the points to point out. Once again, define specifically what is meant by local loop. Answer in a 1 or 2 words. Am I receiving answer? Twisted pair of cable that terminates the local loop with the exchange. Very good. Twisted pair of cable which connects the telephone to the local exchange. Very good. Shruti, Pranita, Sonali, Akhil 64. Very good. Pavya, Swardeep Saga, Hema, Anirudh, very good. Any other persons? Connection between the central office and local loop. So you should always have it in mind. You should never forget the local loop is the physical connection of the subscriber, that is a telephone instrument, to the telephone exchange. Okay, so it's a very, very important technical term in the first unit. So I want you to find the answers for these questions. Please note down the questions. Well, you can take a snapshot of these questions and try to find answers. We'll discuss in the next class. What are the different power supplies used to provide power to the standard telephone, and what are the specifications and where it is located? And the third question is, what are the characteristics of the ringing signal supplied to the telephone company? And what is a hybrid? Hybrid, we all know that. It is a one which converts the 4-wire line to the 2-wire line. And answer me the fifth question. Most telephone companies can still accommodate pulse dial telephones. True or false? Yes. True. Very good. Shruti, Shravanti, Sambasiva. What is the Zoya for us? That's number 248. Is that his name, sir? Yes, Zoya. Okay. Pranita, Prithvika, Sandeep. Okay, many responses are there. Very good. Very good. Okay. Now specify the type of transmitter, that is the microphone used in standard telephone, and how does it work. So we have learned about the standard telephone as well as many other electronic telephones and cordless telephones, and you should be in a position to differentiate the difference between the microphones that is used for the different kind of telephones. Please answer to the question, ma, any one of you. Please take a snapshot of the questions and try to find the answers. If you want, you can note down the questions. I'll move on to the next hot band granular transmitter. Very good. Take a snapshot of the second set of questions. What is meant by tip and the ring? So the next class we will discuss in detail. Take the colors used to present them. What is the color of the tip and the ring? Ring,
red and green.
Yes. Then tip is for?
Red.
Red. No, ring is red and the tip is green. You should have it in mind. RR. Ring is red and the tip is green. Yes, very good. And the touch-tone dialing system, please take a snapshot of it and also try to find the frequency when you press the button hash. When you press the button hash on the keypad, what is the frequency that is being a range of frequency of the signal that is being generated when you press the button hash. We had low group of frequencies and high group of frequencies are there. So when you press the button hash, what is the sum of the frequencies that is being derived and what is the frequency of the signal that is generated? Try to find the answer for this. Please take a snapshot of this. Next set of questions. Please try to find the answers for all these questions. What is the purpose of bridge rectifier circuit in the standard telephone? Okay, ma, many of you have answered. Very good. I appreciate your involvement here. That frequency you need to find. Veera Ramalakshmi, when you press the hash button, what is the frequency of signal that is being generated? Try to find out from the DTMF, dual tone multi-frequency. That concept is there, no? Lower group of frequencies and higher group of frequencies. Yes. Reshmi has answered. 697, what is that? Hertz or megahertz? You need to specify that in terms of the units. Yes, hertz. Okay, we'll see you tomorrow.